Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Tried to stop the shooting as it happened. An off-duty state trooper and a civilian. You can see footage here that appears to show one of them shooting back at the shooter. The civilian, identified by local media as 35-year-old Jordan Salinas. Here's Twin Falls Police Chief describing their heroic actions that likely saved lives.
We can confirm that there was an off-duty state trooper and a citizen who actively engaged the suspect by returning gunfire towards him. We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties.
According to reporting from the Idaho Statesman, Salinas instinctively ran toward the gunfire, drawing a semi-automatic pistol and fired on the mass shooter. The incident happened around 2:30 p.m. Saturday at a busy shopping plaza in Twin Falls. In-N-Out's president, Lindsay Snyder, says customers and an employee were among the victims, though the names of victims are not being released by law enforcement at this time. Video shows the suspect dressed in black, carrying a long rifle. Law enforcement described a chaotic scene as customers and employees at the In-N-Out ran from the restaurant as gunshots rang out.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Class is in session today. Sorry, Joe's not here. I'm here, and I got a great co-host today as well. Micah is going to be joining us, and we got a lot to go over. And we'll start here. We're at the survival of a nation. We're at a survival of a nation. That's the theme of today's show. And what you just saw happened over the weekend. And that's no different than the regular shootings that are occurring every day in our streets, except this one was caught more on camera, and a good Samaritan decided to engage. And that's the line in the sand, is when are good men going to stand up? And with that, I want to bring Micah on because I know he's got a heck of a lot to say about this. Him and I spoke earlier this morning, and I think we need to just unpack it, Micah. Good men standing up.
Yeah, we need more of them. And we were talking earlier, you and I have much we share in opinion and thought process. A couple things we see a little bit different, but I will tell you, the guy that stood up here, that's a bona fide hero. That's an authentic man standing in the face of evil. If we don't call it out, we don't stand in the face of it, it succeeds, period. End of story.
Yeah, and in that shooting, I saw 3 were killed, 7 injured. This guy, I think he's been identified now. The shooter was 24-year-old Chad Williams, who died at the scene from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Yeah, he's a coward.
Yeah, he took the easy way out.
Yeah, he opens up on the innocents. A lot of people have made this, it's constantly a 2A argument. I would argue that we have a culture problem. The 2A argument's a byproduct of it, like so many other things, but we have a culture problem in this nation. We have embraced evil. We have, I've said for a couple of years now that we have gone away from the Democrat and the Republican Party, and now we're just into the party of good and evil. And what you're seeing is evil personified. I'll say it over and over. You look back at anything that has happened over the last, 4 to 5 years, and every single one of these things go back to a culture initiative. The left wing wants to argue that it's a gun issue. The right wants to come out and say, you're taking away my rights. But when you really break it down to size, definitively, I think it's a culture issue through and through.
And what's at the heart of the culture itself that's causing this to rear its head?
It's an attack on values. It's an attack on family values. It's an attack on faith. It's an attack on Christianity. People are fatigued. We're tired, man. We're tired. We're tired of trans issues, black issues, liberal issues, Trump issues. It's just on and on and on and on. There's no breathing room, but the central attack is on family values. So we see it here in Colorado, where we're passing House bills and Senate bills that they don't just go. I mean, they cloak it in, it's some type of health thing. That's good for the kids, but we're talking about like the destruction of not only family values, but the actual destruction of children. And we're going after this. So we're tearing apart the family. The Democrats are just absolutely destroying family values. They're going after the kids, specifically the kids, targeting the kids, saying you can be anything you want. You can make up any title. You can go do anything that you want to go do. And at the end of the day, that's just not true. Anybody with a lick of common sense knows this. But every single time we attack this, we advance that culture. And then when a bad action happens, we want to blame it on the thing. And that just makes no sense. That's like blaming obesity on the spoon.
I like that one. But I hear you, and I'm thinking that I'm processing as you're speaking with me, and everything that's being attacked is basically conservative values, correct? That's what we're seeing it as, right?
I think that's the primary attack. I mean, if you really look at what is going on, and you could really break this down, in my opinion, you can break it down topic by topic by topic, but it all comes back to the same narrative. It goes back to the thing that I've said multiple times. I either burn down your city or we're going to burn down your city. So they leave you with no option. And when you press people far enough, you get some type of, you're always going to get some type of reaction. The conservative nature of humanity is to give, is to love, is to take care of people. It's to walk journeys with people. And so my genuine belief is when you take a party of conservatives and you have a hardcore party of liberal left, and they're just banging a drum all the time, and they're constantly switching subjects. The conservative party doesn't know how to keep up with that. They've never had a battle plan that is good for that. So when you denigrate the family, you tear apart the family, that's where the wake-up call starts happening. It's not my kids. And you can see this happening over and over and over in bill after bill after bill here in Colorado. And here's how you know there's an intentionality behind it, because there's a punishment that goes with it. If we were passing something for the betterment of all Colorado, there wouldn't be, you're going to be held accountable at the end in potential civil or criminal jail time. And we're talking family dynamic things. We're talking about the mutilation of kids. We're talking about going in and having reconstructive surgery without parental consent, or if you're divorced and you're coming from the outside coming in, you can come to Colorado and we will offer this to you. And if somebody tries to speak into it that's family, we can hold them to account. You have the same thing in schools where you have sadly, a 16 or 17-year-old girl gets pregnant and she wants to go in for abortion. The schools were protected. There's story after story where they've had teachers and counselors that have actually taken kids down to abortion clinics and they don't inform the parents. So we just have right after right after right being taken away. But again, it comes back to the culture. It doesn't come back to a thing. It's not a pair of glasses that I'm holding in my hand. There's a culture issue that we're seeing, and it's exploding. It's exploding all over this country. And nobody really knows how to fight it because it's coming from all angles.
So wouldn't you think then the violence would be coming from the right than the left, being the attacks are on the right, but yet it's the right that is not doing these shootings?
No, they're not.
It's not. The right is restraint once again. So even with this pressure that mounts, right, it's not the right or conservatives going out, attacking people physically, killing them, shooting at. It's not us.
No,
it's not outside.
There's not. CCW holders aren't running around killing people.
No.
So we're making the laws nearly impossible to go out. I mean, here in Colorado, and I know we'll talk about that in a minute, but we've passed a House bill that's going to make it significantly harder for law-abiding citizens to defend themselves, to protect themselves. You're going to go through these processes, and this is all done by the liberal left. It's being pushed. I had a pastor recently say, if you don't think it's hard living in a liberal state, you should try living in a liberal state. And we're talking about it from the pulpit nowadays. So you can tell that it's ingrained in everything and it's become a part of the culture. It's how do you fight it? To me, that's always going to be the question. And until good men are willing to stand in the face of evil, I'm a faith guy. People ask me all the time, like, when do you stand up and fight? Like, well, we're called to love our enemies. Like, I have no problem looking across at somebody who's walking a journey, who's broken, hurting, maybe made a ton of bad decisions. You love that person through it. And I've watched guys come out the other side with genuine salvation that will admit their brokenness, their sins, all of that stuff. That's why you love your enemies. But when that evil is personified and it keeps coming at you, you stand in the face of it, you call it out. When that evil starts taking action, you take action, you get up in front of it. And then when it's carried out in an act like we see in Idaho, you stop it with force, you overwhelming force. And at the end of the day, it astonishes me that people don't get that. I can love my neighbor. I can hate the evil. I can love my neighbor. I can hate the evil. I don't get why that's a rub with people, why that's so hard to understand. But when somebody goes out and commits an act like what we saw in Idaho, you better believe good men need to step up and do something. But it all starts with a voice. It starts with our bills. It starts with our legislators. We're in a political midterm season like I've never seen here in Colorado before. And I've been here 26 years. And it's like warfare right now. And it's coming.
Yeah, yeah. It's not coming, it's here, right? Like the war is here. The cultural war, the political war, the economic war, every war that is going on is basically culminating now, I feel like. I feel everything's coming to a head. You got the midterms, you got the presidential election coming up 2 years after that. Us on our side, I believe, are extremely disappointed where we are a year and a half into this presidency. I don't believe there's too many victories that we could hang our hat on. No. And that's where the demoralizing part comes into me, and where I start thinking back, okay, we control the presidency, we control the legislative branch, and we have a 5-4 Supreme Court, maybe on a good day, maybe on a good day, a 5-4-1, right? So we have all levers of power, and yet what has actually been done for the American people, for the conservatives that came together and put Trump back in the White House? What's being done for us here?
Well, I've heard a lot of words. I've always had a hard time kind of overall defending Trump. He says a lot of things that I don't categorically agree with. But the reason I voted, and I voted for him in 45, I voted for him in 47. I make no apologies for the vote. What I've learned is I think something has changed the man in 47 that was once in 45. I see a shell of the man. I think there's a couple notable things that happened also when he came out on that, when he gave his acceptance speech. That was actually a very good speech. If you go back and listen to it, there was a lot of people that were behind that, and they were very excited.
You're talking about the night he won, when the votes came in and he declared victory over Kamala.
Yeah, and he came out and he said, "Here's what we're going to do." And there was a lot of things stated in there, from the Epstein files to JFK, no more wars, 2 genders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think the single greatest accomplishment that I've seen Trump do in 47 was a UFC fight in the front yard of the White House.
Okay.
That's what I think the single greatest accomplishment so far has been. Everything else, we have no answers on Epstein, no arrests. We have nothing done on Charlie Kirk. We have nothing done on JFK. We have nothing done in Iran. We're playing ping pong. All I can picture is Forrest Gump sitting there hitting the ball against the table, playing himself. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like we're just volleying back and forth, threat, no threat. And look, I'm sure there's a lot of things that are behind the scenes way above my pay grade, but from a common sense deal, we went in because we said they have nukes and they're a threat. Well, so is North Korea then. We're not attacking North Korea. North Korea has way more nukes, and they're considerably, in my opinion, just as dangerous, if not more dangerous. Why aren't we going in and doing that? So there's a tactical maneuver, I'm sure, that they made, but then they came out and said, well, we've eradicated it, that the nukes are underground, we've obliterated it, we don't want to put boots on the ground. And I think we're going to end up putting boots on the ground.
Forever war.
Potentially. I mean, it's got the makings of it right now. And this was on the promise of we're not entering any more of these. And it comes back to me as like, when are we going to start taking care of our home front?
Yeah.
I mean, we got 350 million people here asking questions. What's going on? Like Trump, don't like Trump, like Biden, don't like Biden. I don't even care about any of that stuff. I'm looking at the haves and the have-nots at this point in time. And when I sit back, I think the good Lord above, I've never met the guy from Idaho. I think he's a hero for what he did yesterday. I think there's a lot of good men standing out there willing to fight. But what are you fighting for, and what are you fighting against? There's so many subject lines right now. And then internally in the Conservative Party, you got people sitting back going, I'm still paying $4, north of $4 a gallon of gas. Oil's running low. And 2 months ago, Trump said, we got plenty of oil. I'm not worried about it. Well, I'm worried about it now.
And this goes back to, we're supposedly winning. That's my point.
Winning what?
That's my point. We're in charge. We have the levers of power, and this is where we are. Now, what does that look like when we're not in charge? Does gas become cheaper? Do the wars stop? Do the borders stay closed? You understand what I'm saying? Like this, like, where's the positive for us? Where is us turning the corner and reclaiming our country? Because to me, I don't see it. And this is just a Band-Aid and 2.0 Biden coming in right after.
Yeah, I'm
There's nothing being done on the domestic front to ensure we have a country left once this administration's out of office.
Yeah, I can't argue that point. And I mean, that's what I was driving at, is that we have a culture issue. I genuinely believe that's part of the culture. I think that's part of our problem right now. We have enough people that could stand up that are not, or they have stood up and they've gotten beaten down. And at the end of the day, they're not willing to risk it. I mean, you and I talked about it off air. It's you have good men that know the fight is here, but they got a mortgage, they got a job, they got kids. They when and what am I fighting and what am I doing?
Identifying the targets and what's the objective. It'll be like, oh, we got to stand together, let's go fight. It'll be like us doing what we just did in Iran, going in without a plan. And we just start marching around saying, all right, we're going to get Poland, we should get this guy, we should get that. That's not going to lead to anything. There's no organized way to actually undo all of this. I believe the only way this can get done is people above us that have the power and authority to make the arrest and put the charges on paper and make substantial changes need to do it. And it's not being done anywhere. And the only arrest we see are Somalis with crooked teeth. There is no way those people with the lowest IQ, borderline retardation status, can figure out how to put together hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud programs without any help, without educated people plugged into the system that knows how the system operates to siphon off hundreds of millions of dollars for us. And then when that money, we found 50 million here, we found 100 million here, 250 mil here. Where's that money going?
Yeah.
Is that money coming back to us? Is like, we found the fraud. Okay, great. Does that mean that money has been spent out already and we can't get it back? Or a percentage of 250 mil got spent out, but we recouped 100 mil? Okay, how are we breaking that 100 mil back down to plug the holes of the 47 trillion in deficit we're in? There's no transparency there with that. It's all talking points. It's all magical numbers. Because is it putting more money in your pocket finding this fraud?
Well, no, obviously not. And I think that your point is not only well made, it's the one thing that everybody's frustrated with, because you can't quantify anything.
Exactly.
You can't validate anything. You're told that it exists. They go in. I don't even know if they made any arrests on it. But at this point in time, I'm sitting back and I'm questioning it. This is why, for me, people will say to me, look, you're a tactical guy, you're an instructor, you've done your law enforcement career, you put people in jail, all that stuff is true. But I'm also a faith guy. I'm a big believer in salvation, and I'm a big believer in forgiveness, but I don't avoid standing in the face of evil. And that, you'll hear me say this over and over and over and over. I think we're called to do this. And right now we have evil personified on the outside coming in. It's coming over the borders. We have evil personified, in my opinion, in big government. The 535 running the nation are not giving good answers. The president that was in 45, and again, I said it earlier, I have a hard time defending everything he says, but when Trump first came in 45, he had a nickname for everybody. Everybody that was running for office.
Little hand Marco, remember that one?
There was so
My
many.
hands are big.
And at the end of the day, it was funny, but to me, it wasn't a Christ-centered way of approaching it, because there's a cause of division in it when we should be bringing people together. But there was an element of him that I also go, you know what? He was willing to dust it off and throw down. He was willing to come in and say, look, I'm not establishment. I'm not playing this game. And people loved that. I think that people could really get behind that. Whether or not they completely endorsed everything he stood for, it was something different. 46 comes in, Biden happens, woke happens, craziness happens, COVID happens. I mean, just we see the end results. I'll never forget the guy surfing. I think he was in Huntington Beach or Seal Beach. And there's nobody in the ocean and there's nobody on the beach. You can see miles in every direction. You see two cops walk out, call him in from out of the water and arrest him during COVID. And you go, that right there is that to me was the beginning of the end for everything that we were headed towards. If you can go do that, you can do anything you want. And that's what's scary to me right now, because again, we are embracing and accepting things that are fundamentally not true, categorically not true. Men can't have babies, men can't be women, women can't be men. This is all garbage. And yet you got U.S. Olympic committees and collegiate sports all arguing over this stuff. Like, oh, it's a thing. No, it's not. It's not a thing. It's not even actual. And yet somehow it continues to get traction. That's part of the culture. And then the byproduct of that is when those people don't get the way they want, they seem to act out. There's a violence. We see protests in the street that turn into burning down of buildings and trashing cars. I just saw some influencer guy get attacked. I think it was in Dearborn.
Oh, Jake Lang. We're going to play that later today.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
you know, I mean, he's getting attacked by 7 or 8 men. They're throwing rocks at him. You got one female cop who Muslims don't respect anyway, and they're just shoving her out of the way as this guy's trying to hide in the cop car. So we've got an indoctrination. You're never going to have a Sharia law. You're never going to have an agreement between a Sharia law practicing nation and the United States of America when it comes to treaties or embargoes or trade. Iran's going to continuously be Iran, and us sending a few special forces over there isn't going to solve anything. We got a legitimate problem we've entered into. We need to get out of it. If it was a true in our face threat in the moment, fine, go over, do what we got to do, defend ourselves. If we're all on the verge of dying, go over and turn it into a parking lot, I guess. But you got to remember, there's also innocent people that live over there. There's people that aren't doing anything wrong. And the U.S., in my opinion, has a way of getting into the middle of these skirmishes, and we've been living in them. I mean, really, about the only freedom that I remember in my lifetime, I'll be 58 in 5 days, was Reagan. I mean, Reagan came in right at the end of Iran. Carter couldn't get anything done. Reagan came in and said, enough. Goes in, gets the prisoners. And through the 80s, right up to about 90, right before the skirmishes started over in the box, we were doing pretty good. But prior to that, Vietnam, you had a little bit of break between World War II and Vietnam. So the 50s.
You had Korea too.
50s were pretty cool. You had muscle car invasion. Everybody started buying hot rods and big horsepower stuff. And you had Dairy Queens popping up all over. I mean, life was pretty cool back in the late 50s and the early 60s. And then you had the season of love and the drugs came in. And then all of a sudden, Nam hit. And we just seem to not have a break in America with one bad decision after another, or we're going in to do the right thing, and then we get stuck and we don't have an exit plan. And so we get Biden coming in and going, well, here's what we're going to do. And we pull out, and immediately the country's turned right back over to where it was when we started. So there's no advancement. And I think that's my concern, because that's what we're starting to see on home soil now. And how do we fight that? I mean, it's like, who are we fighting? I don't even know who we're up against. Well, let's see. Other than evil.
Is anyone actually in our government trying to stop this or fight it? Let's ask that question. Why does it seem the average American cares more than the one that's in charge, than those in charge that can make a difference?
I would say left wing, right wing is all the same bird with the exception of a few feathers. I genuinely believe, personally know a couple congressmen, congresspeople that are the real deal. The dudes that are the fighters. There's I would say 20-ish, 23, 4 that go against the grain, that are willing to be dissenters, to stand for. I mean, there's an old adage, you don't believe in a president, you believe in the country. You support your country, you're not supporting a president. The president is an institution. We need to be supporting America. And to your question, it doesn't feel like that's what's happening. And that I think that's why so many people, you got people on the left saying, see, I told you so. But you got a lot of people on the right that really expected 47 to be Donald Trump 2.0, kind of on steroids. And when he came in and he just went flat and did nothing and then just started playing the game. I mean, to me, it feels bought. To me, it feels controlled. I could be wrong. I can't speak fluently on Israel. I know everybody's really targeting that right now and saying they're the driver behind it. Do I think they're the kind of the puppeteer with Trump? It feels that way. It feels like every single time they snap their mouth and they bark at somebody, we come in as the enforcer to go do something. So they run their mouth and we become the bodyguard. And I think people are old. I just think they're fatigued. I think people are tired. I feel like everywhere you turn, you're tired.
Yeah, you are. You are. And speaking of tired, I want to put this up. This is going to make you real tired. Let's put up A2, the article about Senate Bill 25003 going into effect out here in Colorado. So Micah could really get going now. There you go. It went into effect August 1st. It's sponsored by Senators Tom Sullivan from Centennial and Julie Gonzalez of Denver, and Speaker Pro Tempora Andy whoever from Fort Collins, and Representative from Englewood. Wow, those sound all up and down the I-25 corridor, making the cracking the whip out here on everyone out in Colorado.
Dude,
break it down, Micah. Tell us what this bill's about, please, so everyone can get it. I got an AI summary version of it today. I think you could do a little bit better.
Well, I don't know. I'll do my best. It's a slow-moving train wreck, is what it is, and it's gonna keep going. My guess is there'll probably be some type of injunction that comes. There'll be some type of fight.
Someone's got to file a lawsuit first.
They got to file it, but it's happened in a couple other states with similar language, and they won. And the Supreme Court came back and said, "Yeah, this is garbage. You can't do it." So I think you'll see that here.
What do they look? What's the heart of this bill? What are they doing at the heart of this bill?
So they're making it as complicated and as cumbersome and as frustrating as possible to go buy a handgun, which
A handgun, not even an AR,
well,
a handgun.
handgun, rifle. I mean, there's
Anyone that has a magazine that comes out of it?
Yeah. anything
Okay,
that you
so
can
not
drop
a
and
revolver. A revolver's okay?
pop. I think revolvers are okay.
But anything that drops a clip or puts a clip in, this law impacts.
Yeah, and it's
okay.
It's really something that people should dig into. 25003. People should go read the nomenclature on it. It's really important.
Well, they write it so convoluted, people aren't going to understand it.
Well,
it becomes very hard to read legalese.
Here's the stupid breakdown on it. So you've got to go to your sheriff now.
Before I go, if I want to go to the gun range, if I want to go to DCF to go buy a gun, I can't do that anymore.
You can't do that anymore.
I have to go to a sheriff office first.
You got to go to the sheriff's office first, and you got to sit down because the sheriffs in Colorado have a lot of time, as I understand, on their hands.
Well, there's no laws to enforce, man.
There's nothing to be done out
saying?
here. So he's sitting around and he's drinking his latte. We have 350,000 people here in Douglas County, 200,000 of them of legal gun buying age. So the sheriff probably has nothing better to do than sit down and do a litmus test on every single person that wants to buy a gun. So that's what the sponsors of the bill came up with. They thought it was a good idea. The second thing they did is they threw it under essentially Parks and Wildlife for oversight. So you've got a division that didn't want it. They'll tell you they didn't want it. They don't know what to do with it. They don't even really understand how to handle it. I was talking to 3 different sheriffs in the last week, and they were still waiting on updates on something that was going to pass, which passed 2 days ago that went into effect. So you go get your litmus test from the sheriff, and the sheriff, so let's say he signs it off. Now you got to go to an authorized instructor to take a 12-hour over 2 days, mind you, that's part of the bill. It's got to cover 2 days, 12-hour PowerPoint presentation. So you're not going out to the range and learning anything. You're not shooting.
Before you go any further,
Go ahead.
Are there fees included in any?
Oh, I hadn't gotten to that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, there's fees every step of the way. So
just checking.
I guess I should have qualified for this. So you're going to go to the sheriff, do the litmus test, pay a fee.
Yes, there we go. Okay.
Then he's going to sign off on it. You're going to go find an instructor, and there's a handful of them out there across the state, and you're going to pay a fee.
There we go.
And you're going to sit down, and you're going to take a 12-hour PowerPoint presentation that you could probably do in an hour on YouTube by yourself. In the age of technology, nobody thought of that, I guess, over in the state, capital where these guys passed it, or the Parks and Wildlife who are administering it. So you're going to sit there for 6 hours one day and 6 the other, or however they break it up. And you're going to go over things like the 4 rules of gun safety. And you're going to spend an hour talking about the 4 rules of gun safety, and you're going to pay your fee. And then at the end of it, you're going to take a test. And you have to pass this test with a certain proficiency, which I believe, if they've all agreed on it now, is actually 90%. Don't hold me to that, because that number's jumped all over the place. And then you're going to take that test and you're going to say, hey, look what I did. And then you're going to go back over to the sheriff's office, and then you're going to pay a fee, and they're going to do a background check. I'm not really sure what the background check was for, because you already did the litmus test with the sheriff to determine that you were capable to buy the gun in the first place. But now you're going to do a background, and the background is going to be the standard. We're going to send it off to here in Colorado. It's going to be CBI.
Right.
You're going to pay that fee. CBI is going to clear you, and then you're going to go down and you're going to pick out your gun. You still have a 3-day wait period, no matter what, after the background is done. You got to do that at wherever you purchase your weapon. And you eventually get to buy your gun, and you're going to pay your taxes. And what I tell people is, after you buy your gun, if you've got kids or you got family members, make sure you put that weapon in a trust, because if something happens, we have certain laws here in place, red flag law being one of them, and there's others where the people that you paid all those fees and taxes to, if something happens and they discern it to be a certain way, they will come in and take those guns away. That's kind of the nutshell version of all of it. By the way, this does not include your CCW. So this is just to buy the gun. This has nothing to do with training.
With your concealed carry, nothing.
None of it. This is just, so I want to go buy a new one of these.
Is that a cell phone or a picture of a gun on a cell phone?
This is a handy dandy iPhone. Right?
Okay.
So whatever you carry, Android or iPhone. So I go over to the Apple store or the Android store, and I go, hey, I would like to do this. They give me 17 different plan options. I can do whatever I want to do with it. I can get any app I want installed on it, and I can get it in about 10 minutes. In fact, I can order it from home online, and they'll ship it to me. And that's right there.
Yeah.
And I don't have to background check. I don't have to do anything. And then I can get on here and I can say anything I want, essentially within reason, because we have the First Amendment. But here in Colorado, if you want to have the Second Amendment, you got to go do a litmus test and pay the sheriff. And then you got to go do a 2-day, 12-hour PowerPoint presentation where you do nothing with the weapon essentially at all, except for maybe the 4 rules of gun safety. And then you get to touch it and look at it, but you're not doing anything with it. Then you go pick out your gun, you do your 3 background, you pay your fee, and then ultimately your gun comes in. But as Joe put it, and by the way, we don't know the duration of time on the approval process from Parks and Rec once the test is submitted. So they on their own website said this is an undetermined amount of time. I don't know if they've updated this, but as Joe puts it, he says you can, if you've picked out a gun ahead of time, you can come down to the range and you can have conjugal visits with your gun. You can hang out with your gun. You can touch the gun. You can smell the gun. You can look at it. What you can't do is you can't take it home. So they've made it just about as cumbersome and clunky as possible with no oversight from the entities that wanted it. So in other words, Parks and Rec, Parks and Rec, whatever they are, they didn't want it. The sheriffs didn't want it. Nobody wants to touch this thing. But they're all mandated to do it because 4 people thought it was a really, really, really good idea.
Well, and then everyone else in the state house decided they took a vote on and passed it.
They took a vote on it, yeah, because again, we look at Idaho. That guy, when he got out of that vehicle and pulled that rifle out of the trunk, there's 8.2 billion people on the planet, and I'll bank everything I got 10 times over and everything you own. He didn't know how anybody voted inside or outside when he started shooting people.
Oh yeah,
because evil doesn't discriminate. Right?
Agreed.
But the 2 guys that helped slow the threat down to get the guy off site before he offed himself, both of those guys went through an inordinate amount of training and an inordinate amount of education, spent their fees, had their money, and that's when good men stop evil. But look at what they did in order to stop it. That guy didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
All he had to do was open fire.
And while you were talking, I was playing on my computer here. There's 6 new fees with all this.
There should be.
There's 6.
Yeah.
So you have a state administrative fee, which is $52 that gets paid to the local sheriff, CPW. You have a sheriff processing fee, and that's going to be determined on what the county's going to charge.
That is correct. Yeah.
So from what I saw here, counties, where was my county charge? Examples here, $0 in El Paso County for residents. So El Paso's not charging anything, apparently.
That's interesting considering their sheriff.
$50 in Adams and Jefferson counties, and then up to $200 in Denver County. That's what
that makes sense.
This is just AI.
Yeah.
What they're pulling. Third-party background check is $30 plus court fees to be determined. You have the safety training course that ranges from $100 to $250 that gets paid directly to the certified firearms instructor. Then you have the CBI InstaCheck fee, $15. Then you have the dealer FFL transfer fee between $20 to $50. So this is going to cost anywhere between an extra $250 to $500 for someone that wants to go buy a gun to defend themselves.
Not to mention your time. This is
This
is a big deal because most of these classes are probably going to be Saturday, Sundays. Who's going to take off work on a Monday, Tuesday to go sit down and do 12 hours of PowerPoint so that they can buy a gun? So what the liberal mentality is if we make this much harder, eventually we're going to cure all problems with guns. And we're never going to have evil in this country, and great things are going to happen. The reality is all you're doing is taking the Second Amendment and trampling it, but more so enhancing your own culture problem. So again, I'm going to go back to culture over and over and over. What they want is, in my opinion, is total control. If you can control the culture, you can control the narrative. If you control the narrative, you can control the outcome. And you can see this here in this legislation that was passed. And mind you, at the end of the day, you can still buy the gun. You just got to go through this clunky process to get there. That's a very expensive process. That's very time consuming.
It's infringing my rights.
It's infringing your rights, but you're still getting the gun. So the only thing they've really done is just make it harder.
Well, and that's where the courts are going to come in. And I'll tell you right now, this is going to the federal. You're going to lose down here. You're going to lose at the 10th Circuit. And then you're going to need this to be petitioned by the Supreme Court.
More than likely.
because these courts out here are
They're a joke.
it's not even fun.
Yeah, you
It's
got
not
you
even
got
close.
feckless judges.
It's
everywhere.
not even close. And the left is doing this. It's part of it. But I also believe they see something as, this is an American thing. We need to get rid of this. Americans having a right to buy a gun, we need to make sure they don't have a right to buy a gun.
Yeah, we're changing the culture.
We need to stop this. But they don't care, or they're not looking to actually stop the gun violence. They're not. Because if they were looking to stop the gun violence, this bill wouldn't be on the desk.
No, that's correct.
This people that commit crimes, that shoot people, are not the ones that are buying their guns legally.
Yeah.
It's the ones that are on the streets, right? And unfortunately, what percentage of the people on the streets own the guns, and what are their specific demographics on the street that own those guns?
Yeah, so every question you're raising has been something that's been argued out over and over and over and over, and they keep winning the battle because we do not have good men stepping up. These things get passed. They get passed in the House. We fight down here, but everybody's fighting on social media. Nobody's going down. I've testified at the courthouse, and I can tell you what it looks like when you walk in on a House bill. You get called in, you get 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You might wait hours to go get your 3 minutes. And most times they're sitting up there playing on their
Yeah,
phones.
because they don't care, because they already have what they know what they're going to do.
They know exactly what's going to happen. So,
and then the fallout from this is just simply law-abiding citizens become the fodder.
Sure.
We become the target practice.
Right.
The ones that can't defend themselves will be the ones that get killed first.
That's right.
To me, that's the plan here. It's not so much a cultural, maybe it is a cultural thing. I just personally see it as they want to eliminate a subsect of this culture. We represent that subsect of the culture they want to eradicate in America.
Well, that's because
white Christian
forming
males.
a new culture. That's what I'm getting at. That's why I say it's a culture, because you're forming a culture. You're changing the culture from what it was here to the way you want it to be over here, and everything gets left behind. So I genuinely do believe it's a culture thing. And
I want to play this. This segue is perfect. Have you seen the recent Thomas Massie clip that's making its rounds?
No.
All right, let's play cut 3 about Thomas Massie talking about the 2A.
If I see a politician run a TV ad and it's them in a duck blind, and then they get up and start talking about the Second Amendment, and they don't tell you what the Second Amendment means to them, and they imply that it's about duck hunting, I don't trust that politician. The Second Amendment is about keeping our government in check. It is about keeping the possibility of a tyrannical government from evolving, and if it does, giving you the means to enforce the Constitution.
undeniably.
100% true. That's why the First Amendment is what the First Amendment is, and that's why the Second Amendment is what it is, because the Second backs the First, and you don't have the First without the Second, because if you don't got the Second, you have no rights. We've seen it through the course of time. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. If the people cannot defend themselves from the government will come in and squash you. Look what's going on in Europe right now. Those people in Europe are getting a heavy dose of global elitism.
Sure.
And they can't stop it.
Right. Did you see what happened in Spain?
Yeah, the little enclave on the northern part. Well, did you see? You're going to make me do this.
Take a breath.
You're going to make me do this. Why did that happen? Who instigated it, Micah?
Look.
I
didn't make you do anything.
Who instigated it?
I didn't.
Did you see the State Department memo that was written in March?
I didn't, but I know where you're going.
Where am I going? What happened? You want me? I'll say.
Go ahead.
All right. So our State Department released a memo in March or April, I believe, of this year.
I thought we talked off air and you're going to stay quiet.
No, I'm saying what our State Department released. It's a legal document.
All right.
It's a document where our State Department straight up said this enclave in the northern part of Morocco, which has been in Spanish control for the longest time, our government acknowledged that part is actually Moroccan territory. In a legal memo, I believe released and signed off by Rubio, where we said that was Savante, I believe it is that is part of the Moroccan sovereign land, or whatever the phrasing was. So right there, that green lit the idea to the people of Morocco that, the U.S. is saying this is ours now.
Who, by the way, just out of curiosity, did you watch the videos?
Oh, buddy, we played the videos. You're talking about when the ladies filming them, waving them in, hey, come on in. And then you got the third world migrants crapping in the streets and wiping their ass with the towels, and you got the breaking into the stores, and you got the civilians going down with bamboo bats trying to beat them.
How many people died, by the way? Do you know?
I think I think it was a couple hundred.
Yeah, we're north of a $150, I think.
Okay.
So I saw a dude, I don't know who it was a YouTuber, and he came out and he did a physical count. He used AI and he did a count. And at one point he was up to 1,100 men that all appear to be between the ages of 18 and 25.
Dude, there's no females or families.
There was no woman.
No.
Up until they found one, and it was funny because it ended up being a dude with long hair.
There you go. Yeah, all men coming over.
Yeah.
All men coming over.
All fighting age men.
All fighting age men. Same story every which way. When they went into Europe, when they came into our country, it's all the same. Our countries are such shit here, but we got to leave our women and children behind, though. It's so horrible there that we got to leave.
Yeah.
But we have to make sure our women and children stay there. Yeah. But yeah, we wrote it. Looks like something's happening. And it goes deeper as to why we wrote it. I'm not going to touch that one. I'm going to leave that one alone. But if you guys want to do the research about it, if you want to read about Spain, Morocco, who kind of aligned with who, and this, that, and the other thing recently over the past year or two, and see the shots fired at each other's countries, you can draw some things together as to why this is happening.
Yeah, I'm not speaking any further on it because I'm not intelligent enough to do so or educated enough on it, but I can say this. I watched the video. And if that's not a foreshadowing, then I don't know what is. And I'm not a doomsdayer. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. By nature, I'm a question asker. I'm a truth seeker. I believe, again, I'm going to love my enemies. I'm going to walk until evil presents itself in my face. That should be disturbing to everybody, though. When you watch that video, that should absolutely be disturbing.
That's nothing. That's nothing to 2022 when Abbott shut down the Texas border. And then what did Biden do?
Yeah.
You can't, time out. Hey, let's get some forklifts down to the southern border. You know that makeshift barbed wire fence that they put? Let's tear it down. Did that not happen?
I watched it.
Yeah, man. So that's worse. Our own government did that to us. These guys kind of pushed their way through a little bit. They had to do a little work. Some of them drowned.
There were a few. That was sad.
But yeah, man, run amok. And I want to play this video because this is what I feel a lot of Americans are going to be speaking this in a couple of years more if something's not changed. Let's play cut 4.
I am watching everything my ancestors built being shit on or destroyed. And you expect me to be like, oh, but the tribal behavior of third world immigrants is acceptable because they're traumatized? I don't care. Kick them out, send them back to their third world countries, give me back my money and my taxes. I really don't care.
American taxpayers have an absolute right to know how much of their tax money is being spent to bring foreigners into America. And if you take a look at this, it's $200 billion plus per year in recent years has been spent of our tax money to bring in immigrants that nobody here actually wants. And how much is that per person? It looks like we are spending about $80,000 plus per person to be brought into America and be taken care of. A high-end public estimate is about $150 billion per year in annual burden for unauthorized immigration. This is money that we are all having to pay with taxes, with inflation that nobody wants. Send them all back.
There you go. And yeah, a lot of people in America, I think, can sympathize, empathize, relate to this young lady because we all feel it. We have been nothing but an hospitable nation to anyone that comes here. And now that has been turned around on us, spit in our face. You are racist until I can do whatever my culture in your name. And if you don't let me, you need to leave this country because we're taking it over. Yeah. And that's what it feels like is going on in America. And then if you stand up for it, you're gone. You're gone.
Well, you said something very important. You said we all feel it.
Yeah, we all do.
The we all is an all-inclusive thing. And the reason that's an important statement, and I'll look in the camera when I say this, we all feel it. We all feel it. No matter who you are or where you come from, everybody's talking about this stuff. if you go back to things that were important back in the day, if you look at it, like let's talk some really big things that were going on. I remember when Hinckley shot Reagan. Remember it very, very well. Turned the corner of the sidewalk, boom, everybody jumps on him. That was in the news for about 3 or 4 weeks because at the time, no social media, no internet, none of this stuff, right? So you've got nonstop coverage on the shooting of the president of the United States. And you dig into these things, and this is back when media was actually halfway decent at doing the things that they were doing, but that would stay there. Nowadays, it's gone like this. Everything is moving so fast, so quick. And so you see a girl like that come out, she's saying what everybody else is thinking. Everybody's feeling it, right? Yeah. We all feel it in some way, shape, or form. I think you said it well. We've always been generous and gratuitous. We invite people in. We're a melting pot. I mean, I don't think anybody would argue that America is one of the most giving nations, if not the most giving nation on the planet. There's another side of that coin, though. But we always seem to find ourselves in the middle of other people's stuff at the exact same time, and it feels like there's a counterbalance between these things. We invite it in, we fund it, and then we go to war over it, and then we invite it in, we fund it, and we go to war over it. And it just keeps happening.
Money's to be made from all of it. That's why. And me and you don't make it. We're the ones who we keep opening it up. Unless you got some good tips.
80 grand a person?
Yeah, man. That's the full salary for people.
That's a lot of money an annual.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like to have 80 grand a year.
So my neighbor behind me, his family and our family become friends. Our kids hang out. We talk a lot. He does federal stuff now, but during the Biden administration, he was actually down at the border. You want to know what he was actually doing? I might have said this to you. He was legitimately handing out cell phones and $3 grand cash.
Is that right?
To people coming across.
Yeah.
He goes, "You're not going to believe it." When I said, "No, dude, I believe it because I heard stories about it. I've seen stories about it." But he was legitimately down there, cell phone, $3 grand cash. And then eventually the money ran out for the day. The latecomers didn't get it. Next morning, cash was there for the new people coming in. Just hitting them off. Pop, 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 pop. Yes, sir. To his credit now, we are sending people back because he's on the flights taking people back overseas, down south. So we are shipping people out, but not to the level that needs to be. So the catch-up game is never going to, we're going to lose the immigration battle. And then the ones that survive the deportations, the one that kind of just fly under the radar for a couple of years, they'll rise right back up once the green light comes from the White House again that, hey, como se di, como se da, it's all good. You can do whatever you want here. And we're going to make sure, and we're probably going to hit you back with some traumatization reparations because you had to be real hard living underground for the past couple of years. So we got to make sure we snap you off maybe 10, 15 grand to, get your feet back on.
This stuff is hard. For me personally, look, my wife's Hungarian. So her father-in-law, or my father-in-law, excuse me, he escaped during the Hungarian War. I mean, he came over when he was a wee little one. He makes it to America. He has an 8th grade education. He works on the line at GM for 55 years. He builds his own house. They're still living in it to this day. Been married 66 years. Amazing story. But he went through my family went to Ellis Island and looked at his signature. I mean, they looked at the process. That's how he did it. And it took like several years to go through the process formally. He did it. He loves this country. He's 83 years old. He's long in the tooth now. He's getting to that age where it's like, I've lived my life. But at the end of the day, he's like, I never regretted the journey over here. And the crazy thing is he has 2 older siblings. One fought for the Americans and one fought for the Nazis back in the day. I mean, you talk about being torn from your family, right? I think of what he went through, and I've sat down and I've listened to the stories, and the amount of tears that comes out of that man's eyes when he's shedding and how he lost family coming over, trying to escape the war. And we get people coming in and they're banging them credit cards and cell phones and $3 grand cash. People just don't understand the hardships.
Well, they don't have to, because if you make minorities suffer hardships, you're a racist. Like this is what it all comes down to, because we have to pay for the sins of our ancestors. We have to pay for the sins of every white person that ever walked this planet, because everything that's impoverishing the black or brown, it has to do with white people. So that's the equity payback, brother. Well, that's where it comes from.
That's a whole 2.0 conversation, but I don't know that you're off target on it. That's just so much that goes into that.
And there's another part of it that, for a long time, people that wanted to come to America to work and be part of America. Now there's a different wave of immigrant coming in. And the mindset is, I'm coming into America because I want what America is giving me. Not
for
what
sure.
not what I could do for America, but what can I take from America?
Well,
And-
you saw them burning down the or breaking into the buildings. You just said it. Like when they came over, the first thing they did is start trashing every stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how that. My point is I don't know how anybody watches that and doesn't understand. That's what's here in part, but coming. That culture is just
it's in
evolving.
here. It got in here
but
already.
It's evolving. That's what I'm getting. Like it's getting bigger and worse as we go.
Of course.
And we don't know how to. Well, let's find a video on Jake, whatever his name is.
Oh, let's go. Oh, before that, whoa, before we go there.
Okay.
Before we go to Jake Lang, in case our audience missed it, we covered a lot so far, but let's not miss the big announcement from this weekend. Let's play cut 5. Let's put up President Trump's truth for over the weekend. Here we go. The winning shot in the Bedminster Club Championship. Thank you very much to all those who participated. I won with a score of 70. I'm so honored in that. Unlike the rest of the field, I'm given very little time to practice because I'm focused on many other things. It's called talent, and I have it, and they don't. President Donald J. Trump. Let's put that replay. I think people need to see. Let's click replay if we can, Damon. Let's click replay because I think people need to see this beautiful chip. Like I've sculled so many shots like this. I've sculled it or chunked it. Like look at that beautiful. Look at that. Is that a give me? Maybe a little outside give me range, but he said he won it with that, so that must have been a give me. He must have gotten it. But yeah, so important. We had to make sure we got that up there too. That came out this weekend. Big stuff. That's hard, man. I can't do that. You got to open up the face a little bit. You got to make sure you don't overswing. You can't catch it with the bottom part of the head either. Like that's big time. That's big time. All right.
I loved the statement. I don't have time to practice.
Just naturally good talent.
This is talent. Look, I'm a golfer. I've done that a few times. I've never done it with 22 golf carts in the background.
The pressure. He's the president.
The pressure was there.
He doesn't feel it.
It's hard to defend a man. It really is hard to defend a man.
I hear you. Well, speaking of another man, sometimes it's hard to defend him. Sometimes it's not. Jake Lang, let's just play cut 1. Jake Lang was in Dearborn, Michigan over the weekend. Let's play cut 1.
Dearborn, Michigan. I speak the name of Jesus. No rioting, no violence, 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 no violence. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you.
Oh, gross.
This is America. And that was Jake Lang down in Dearborn, Michigan, protesting another Islamic function that had about 40,000 visitors in the street. I forgot what holiday it was. But he wasn't even smacking the Quran with bacon this time. He was just holding a sign. And look what you get. Look what you get. And now let's call him a provocateur, shall we? Let's call him a provocateur because he's a Christian going down there calling it out to their face. But at the same time, when a Muslim comes and calls out Christians to our faith, about our faith, that's empowerment for them. So let's go, baby. I see your face already.
Well,
let it happen.
So it's a twofold thing for me. Number one, I would never go down there and do that.
I would be strapped if I was with a whole bunch of other people.
Then I'm just going to be in a war zone. But I just don't have any drive to go down to a protest. Like I think there's other ways to showcase and present. One of the ways we're doing right now. We can talk about this stuff, and the world can watch it, see it, and stand against it. And there's legislation and other things can be done. But when we're getting run over in the way that we are, sooner or later, this is the type of thing that's going to happen, and it's going to be a we versus them or an us versus whatever side you're standing on. What concerns me about that is that's called freedom of speech. I mean, he's literally standing down there and he's saying, "I believe in Jesus Christ."
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he could have said, "I believe in bologna sandwiches." I don't think it would have mattered. I think the fact of who he is, that they're going to turn on him. What you're not going to see out of that is any prosecution. And there's more video to that. I watched them trying to get into the police
they got copper cam footage. You see the copper footage?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he got assaulted multiple times, hit with rocks.
Got punched from the back, just
barely made it into the police car.
Yeah.
And there was a female officer there, as I said earlier in the scene. And, the Muslim faith just doesn't respect women. So They didn't care about the cop. But this is America. And it's not just people go, oh, it's Dearborn. It's nothing to worry about. Oh, no, it's Texas. They're building more synagogues in Texas.
Until they take over the local cities, the city councils, then the police force. What is it, Minneapolis or Dearborn? They got the police patch written in
Hamtramck.
In Islam. It's written in Arabic. Sorry, it's written in Arabic on their patch.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that's why I said so it's here, but it's also coming. The culture is shifting. People are not waking up. They don't know what to do. One guy's not going to go down and make a difference.
No,
he'll make the news. He'll
make the
YouTube.
News, get people's eyes on it a little bit. Maybe people take notice to it, wake them up to it a little bit. That's what Jake Lang is doing. I believe waking more people up, creating these clips, getting it out there. Because if he's not doing it, no one's going.
But you said it earlier. You said when you brought up the Somali thing, you got Nick Shirley goes out and finds it, and you said, "Well, where did the money go?" It's a fair question. And it's a fair question that any legislator should be able to answer. And I don't think any of them can answer it. I really don't think there's an answer to it. It's gone. It's fraud. It's stolen. Nobody goes to jail. The paper trail is it's impossible to track. So therefore, the prosecutorial aspect doesn't come in. This to me is why right now, and I'll rabbit trail and go out on a limb for just a second. This to me right now is why we are seeing what we're seeing with Charlie Kirk. So you've got the government narrative in about 8 minutes. We got our guy. Here's the thing. Here's the shooter. Here's the gun. Here's the DNA, blah, 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 blah. Whether you believe that or don't believe it, that's not what I'm arguing about. What I'm going to say is when you throw something out that fast and then you do a bunch of things that the average person goes, wait a second, you did what with the body? You did what with the crime scene? You paved over it? And where is this and where's that? And when you have all these people start asking, now all of a sudden you get all these detectives and these internet sleuths coming out. The problem that we have nowadays that we didn't have back in JFK, we had 3 or 4 camera angles of JFK back in the day?
Just one. They took them all and just had one.
They condensed it all down. Well, I know I've personally have seen 3 different angles when I was younger, but the point is this. Now you have millions. Now you have thousands that are present and millions that are going to dissect it. And you can do it you got some pretty high-end guys out here, much like yourself, that know media, that know sound. When you start extrapolating things out and you start dissecting it down, the government narrative falls apart pretty quickly. And Charlie Kirk's going to be an important case to watch. And it's not because Candace Owens is saying something or Barron, whatever his name, Coleman is doing. It's because people are sitting back and they're going, wait, this was a good man and he's staying out here. Well, I don't know whether Jake's a good guy or not. I have no idea. I know he went down and he stirred the pot, but at the exact same time, he was afforded a right that's written into the Bill of Rights from 1791. It's called the First Amendment. And rather than being able to stand on it and protect it, he gets attacked. And what are we doing with it? That's what's coming to America. That's the culture shift that I'm speaking to. And it is dangerous right now.
Play cut 2. You got to listen to cut 2. This is a gentleman from Egypt. Let's play cut 2.
There is an Islamic invasion happening in America right now, whether you see it or not. The mayor of New York City is a Muslim. The mayor of Dearborn, Michigan is a Muslim. The mayor of St. Louis Park is a Muslim. And the mayor candidate of Minneapolis is a Muslim. Islam for the last 1,400 years have never coexisted with any people, any color, any tribe. And I'm not just talking out of, what I'm educated on. I'm talking from experience. You see, I grew up in Egypt, and Egypt, 1,400 years ago, was a Christian country. We were 90% Christian 1,400 years ago until Islam came in our country. They conquered it. They burnt our churches, killed our men, raped the women, took the kids, and turned them Muslim. And now Egypt is 90% Muslim and 10% Christian. So I'm coming to you from the future to warn you that America might end up this way if the men of America do not wake up.
No, amen.
There you go. Yeah. He's predicting the future from looking at the past. Yeah. And all he said was true. Egypt was a predominantly Christian nation. Muslim march from the Middle East across North Africa up until Europe, conquered most of Europe, got stopped in the 700s by, Charles Martel in France, but they controlled Spain for about 700 years up until the 1400s, and Spain, Ferdinand kicked them out, had to do the Reconquista, all that. They come to convert, they come to take over, they don't come to coexist.
No, there's no coexisting.
And every video I see online, and you can do it yourself, there's imams that are openly talking about wanting to take over America from within. America will fall to Islam, end of story. So my question is, how is that not a domestic terroristic threat? I don't understand this when we are being told by foreigners that are in this country, our goal is to overthrow your government and replace it with our way of life. How is that not considered domestic terrorism? Other than the comparatives change to your way of life or I blow you up. How is that any different? You're holding a gun to our head saying we're going to do it one way or another.
Yeah, I wouldn't push back on your statement. I think there's a couple different viewpoints from it. There's the bang, right? That's domestic terrorism. A building falls down, or you go in like domestic terrorism.
Instantly, 1,000 people dead.
Yeah.
Yes,
but
yes.
I mean, we had 20, whatever it was, however many shot in Idaho this weekend. That's an act of domestic terrorism. It's when you're indiscriminately killing because you want to, or because of your faith or your belief, then absolutely, of course, it's domestic terrorism. And the statement therein is we're going to do this. I would construe that the same way. That would be no different than me looking at you and saying, yeah, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you if you don't believe what I stand for right here in Colorado.
And this goes right back to my issue with this administration. They're not doing anything about this level of threat either.
Agreed.
I don't want to hear freedom of religion. Yeah, you can practice whatever religion you want here, but once you start crossing your religion into taking over our society and we're going to make you submit to our religion, you're crossing a fair line.
Yeah, well, there's freedom of religion is the first part of the First Amendment, and I have no problem with that. But Sharia law is not religion. That it's genocide.
Yeah.
So I don't.
But they'll argue that's my religious belief.
I don't correlate those. Well,
that's why you got to get our hands around this, and we don't. We just invite more and more in.
Well, we don't.
We do.
The liberal party in America, which has become, in my opinion, the party of evil. That's why I said good versus evil. They're inviting it. Nobody is sitting over on the conservative side saying this is a good idea.
We have deals with Middle Eastern countries that allow.
What we have is leaders in the 535 that are making bad decisions.
But you know I'm right. I see that smirk.
But I'm talking about the 350 million citizens in America is what I was getting at. Of that, you have a portion of them that are sitting back and saying absolutely, and then the rest are going, no, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But the 535. Again, left wing, right wing, it's all the same bird minus a few feathers.
Uniparty.
This is why you will not see them ever have term limits. It's the one thing they all agree on. They got a 9% approval rating, but they have a 99% agreement rating on no term limits, with the exception of a handful of people.
What's amazing is their approval rating is always in the shitter. Somehow they keep getting reelected. It's like the elections don't matter either. It's crazy. Let's put up this post, C3. Let's take a look at the Islamist in power in America. Let's pull this up real quick. This is from TN Troll. Absolutely ridiculous. Islam should not be in American politics. Ban Islam. There are 40 Muslim mayors in the United States. There are 240 Muslims in city councils across the United States. There are 70 Muslims in state House of Representatives in the United States. There are 15 Muslim state senators in the U.S. There are 4 Muslims in the U.S. House of Representatives. This is 25 years after September 11th. Their goal right now is to have 50 members in Congress by the year 2030. They got 4 right now. They got 4 years to go. Can they do it? Maybe, maybe not. But it's playing out, and they're not taking over political office to promote American values.
No.
They're not.
No.
So what is nothing?
It's the slow crawl. We talked about it off air, and this is where you and I had 2 different opinions on something. So I'm going to agree with you on the one because it's undeniable. They've been reading the same book for 14 centuries. It's their playbook. I get that. I don't think anybody with any common sense would argue that. So the long haul, they're not planning tomorrow the way Americans think about tomorrow. I get up in the morning and I'm going to go do X, and I fill in the blank with my work day, my schedule, hockey. They're getting up and they're reading the same thing that they've been reading since the day they were born. You're reading the same book with the same battle plan, the same game plan, and it's a long play game plan. You and I totally agree on that. They're coming in here. They're not assimilating. They're coming in to do, in my opinion, to take over your opinion and take over. Your stance was they're going to drain us to death until they get control. I still believe, I genuinely believe there is going to be an uprising that's going to happen in this country, but I don't believe it's going to be necessarily Muslim driven. I believe it's going to be fatigue driven. I think eventually we're going to get to a point where you can only push a man so far, and you're going to get beat down enough that eventually you're going to push back. Now, the problem, again, this is just me. I speak for nobody. I'm not talking about Bubba running out with an AR and shooting at somebody who's brown. I want to be very, very clear on that. You're going to have those kind of events because those you're going to have one-offs. You're always going to have one-offs. I'm talking about a coordinated effort where people sit down and go, how much more are we going to do? And it really comes down to the ultimate question in culture is what's the tipping scale on that? I'll stand on that. So far, we've not seen it, or we would have had it. We would have had some type of uprising where we would have said enough is enough. I would think it would be 10,000 prayer rugs in the middle of New York City at noon. I would think. I watch these videos and I go, they just shut down entire streets. And I go, that doesn't do it. And then you got the moms calling for the destruction of America. We're coming to take, that doesn't do it. But what's gotten a ton of traction as of late, that's worn people out, is liberal white fatigue. I think everybody's tired. I even think Democrats are tired of it. I think they're sitting back. This is why you're seeing the Bill Maher's of the world going, whoa, 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 wait a second. I'm a pretty liberal dude. And that stuff over there is nuts. And I think what is happening is with this whole trans movement, this whole culture shift we're seeing, you beat everybody down. Is there a phobe if they're not on board? I think that's what people are getting tired of. I think Islam is taking advantage of it while we're over here fighting. They're just very intentionally coming in. They're coming in the back doors. They're taking offices. We're seeing it. But I think that's going to be the tipping scale. And what ultimately is, to me, is what's going to happen is we're going to get a lot of people are going to get fatigued. And they're going to say, not on my watch. What does that look like? I don't know. My concern is we're borderline civil war if this continues at the rate we're going. The problem is I don't know that anybody's going to know what the target is going to be.
Exactly. And that's all purposely done.
And that's, of course, it's purposely done. But that's the scary part in all this. Because if you had asked, I think realistically, if you'd asked anybody about 10 years ago, let's go back pre-COVID, if they thought this was going to be a legitimate thing, you would have had a handful of people that would have foreshadowed this, that are in the intel community or been over in the box, or that they just know. Now everybody's talking about it. That to me is how you know that it's becoming real very, very fast. And that's my concern. So when I start thinking about safety, it's not the one-off guy in Idaho. That was bad. That's an act of evil, no doubt about it. Good riddance to the guy. He was a coward. It should have never happened. I'm talking something more intentional, more global. Long haul, like you and I talked about, take over the financials, take over the infrastructure, get people into office, control the vote. It's happened over in the UK. They got no-go zones over there. You can't even walk into them. The UK, the government in the UK does not go into these areas. That's coming to America.
We have that here in America.
We're getting there. We're not all the way there, but we're getting there.
It's even ridiculous. We're saying we're almost there.
If we're
almost there, okay, we're almost there.
I know.
How does it go back then to not almost being there? Without it being taken over. It's going to be taken over.
Outside of, and you may never see this, but outside of, to me, outside of the military coming in, when you have an imam that comes in and you get 5 million people that rise up all at once, you're going to have a war. You're going to have a fight on your hands. I mean, you're literally going to have a military fight on your hands, not a National Guard standing on street corners.
I know, but
you're going to have a fight.
They're not fighting that way. They're fighting a very covert way and a very smart way, that the only way that gets defeated is if our lawmakers do something about it, and our lawmakers are compromised and not doing anything about it.
Well, it's because they're afraid.
Well, look what happened. Hamtramck, gone. Correct, gone. Okay, Dearborn, those 2 American cities, gone. Now you have enclaves being built in Texas and Florida. That's happening now. Nothing's being done about it. DeSantis, Abbott, still happening. They have their own Muslim LinkedIn down in Florida where they siphon off businesses to each other. Muslim-owned shopping. Make sure we keep our money within our own. Like, these are legitimate things that they're doing to build their political power, to build their wealth, because they're not going to fight us. They know they're going to lose that way. They know it. They're not going to have the weapons. They know we do. So how are you going to defeat us? You're going to take us over from within, and then you're going to get the levers of power and then put those laws against the American people, all while you then control your local police departments. They're showing you how they're going to do it. And it's been successful. Is Dearborn ever going to be a quote-unquote American city again?
Not without it ending in the box.
Exactly. So that's their game plan. And guess what? New York City is in their grasp now. New York City will be taken over by the Muslim Brotherhood. They're going to have a war chest of trillions of dollars because Mamdani is going to take over the real estate market as mayor because he's already putting these landlords on notice.
Sure.
They're going to do all this and no one's stopping it.
Yeah, this is why I go back to, the reason I don't get overly fired up in it is because I'm an eternal salvation guy. I mean, if I'm dead and gone on the way home tonight because of a car crash, I feel very secure in where I land and where I end up. And this is what I always say to people. Love people the best you can, stand in the face of evil when you must, push back when you must, and fight it when you should. And at the end of the day, we're just not doing that. And until that message starts getting out, to me, that is the message. Those are the 4 talking points. I will never stop saying it because it's scriptural. It's baseline. It's right in there. It's what we're called to do. It comes from our Creator. And at the end of the day, they don't believe in our Creator, and we certainly don't believe in what they believe in. And they're never going to assimilate here. And it's not going to end until people are in the box. I genuinely believe that. What is the tipping point? I don't know. What is the driver and the mechanism? I don't know. To your point, it's happening. It's happening everywhere. I saw it in the UK. I used to live in Michigan. When I was first there, it was 50,000 at the time, 50,000 people when we left Michigan that were equated to Muslim. That was it, 50,000. It's like 6 million now.
Those are big numbers.
That's huge numbers. And that was very much by design. And if you look at it, it's a border city. So that's why people are saying, well, Texas of all places, what? Well, because it's a border.
Mm-hmm.
It's a border. Florida. You're coming in on a boat. I mean, like it's very obvious where these things are happening and where they're not happening. Minnesota, overrun border. It's right there.
Well, they're coming down from Canada.
Yeah.
They come in, register as students, and then just hop the border and never go to class.
Sure.
At least from what I've read now. I had no idea. I read that report today. I'm like, oh, that's how it happens. Huh?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of visas being granted.
Canada's granting visas to the Muslims. They're coming over, student visas, work visas, whatever. They get into Canada, and then they're just coming over the northern border and getting into Minnesota, getting into their population. They got their visa through Canada. I'm in North America now, but I'm not going to go do what I said I'm going to do in Canada. I'm coming down south.
Sure. Well, you got to go through a little bit of immigration. Back in the day when I lived there, you just drive through the tunnel or over the bridge. I played hockey in Canada and Michigan. I just went back and forth.
There's other parts where it's just farmland. You just walk across farmland and you can, boom, you're in Minnesota. It's crazy.
Same thing in Texas.
All right, we're going to skip cut 4 because of time. We're going to go to post 5. And this is just a little funny thing I found today. And let's lit up post 5 because the Democratic Party is a party that preaches inclusiveness, diversity, all this stuff. But yet when it comes to where they want to live, they kind of don't live where they say is benefit, which is inclusivity, a diverse neighborhood. So if you take a look here, Kamala bought a home in Point Doom. That's more than 80% white, less than 1% black. Obama lives in Martha's Vineyard, 89% white, 3% black. Biden lives in Rehoboth Beach. I don't know, what is that, Delaware? Where is that?
That's probably up England state.
95% white, 0.1% black.
Yeah.
And then Newsom lives in Fair Oaks, 74% white, 2% black. Why do these people that talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, we love our minority, why do they choose to live away from them?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, the first two that might actually be their ratio of birth too, though.
Okay.
You might, Kamala might be 90%.
I hear you. I hear you. But if you preach this, why? Why? Well, I get it. I hear. I just had to put it up there for a little ha-ha.
It's a thus saith, don't do a thing. I mean, you want to preach it, you want to make it sound good because you need the votes, you need the power. Meanwhile, look, I had a conversation, buddy of mine the other day, black guy cop. I've known him forever and a day. We're sitting down and we're talking. He's like, look, we are still, in his words, not mine, we're still enslaved. We're enslaved to the system. We don't understand that Republicans freed us. We vote Democrat because we were promised the world. He went off on Biden for about 5 minutes and he sat down and he goes, and then we don't pay for anything. Everything's given to us. So nobody wants to work. There's a free handout. Now he's saying this. I don't believe that's true across all community that is black. But at the end of the day, I get where he was going. He was frustrated. And he's like, I can't even get my own people to wake up and understand. And I said this on our podcast on the Daily Carry a couple weeks ago. There is nothing harder that I have ever dealt with in law enforcement in my life. And I worked in the project areas, Columbia, South Carolina, Richland County. And this was a volatile city. For a tiny little 2 million person city, it was a volatile city. There was nothing harder than working with black cops that would go into black inner city. And they would come out with tears and sit in the car next to me, buddies of mine, partners of mine, and go, I'm watching my community fall apart. I can't convince them to leave. I want to get them out. I want them to see there's a world out here. Mm-hmm. And it was tragic. It was hard because it's heartbreaking. It's gut-wrenching. They're like, I grew up here. Like I was born here. I went to church here. I went to high school here. I graduated. I went and served in the military. They go over to Fort Jackson. They get done. They go in at 18, come out at 38. They go to work at the sheriff's department. They've literally lived in this neighborhood, like a Fairfield Avenue is a great example, 40 years of their life. And they're watching this neighborhood get tore apart. because of the welfare system. Everything that was put in is like an indoctrination.
Yeah.
And then you sit down with their parents and they tell you stories. They're in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and the grandparents, they're going, this is not the America we used to live in. When the race wars hit and they hit in the 60s, if you go back into the 40s and 50s, there were things called Black Wall Street back in the day. They were not only empowered in a good way, I mean, they were thriving. And then came the Democrats. Then came the Joe Biden. Joe Biden used to sit on the House floor throwing out the N-word.
He did. I know. There's clips of him back when he actually had hair too.
Itchy legs, the child groper. I mean, the guy is a living, walking, breathing, disturbing human being on every level. And I sit down and I watch these old clips, and you would think that everybody would go, well, it's available to all of us. We can see it. And yet here we are and we're debating it. And when I sat next to those guys and they'd come in and we'd get done with the call, man, they just reach over and grab my forearm and they're like, I just want to do something. And these are the guys that are on the streets every single day battling it. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And same thing in education. You got people walking around in education doing this equity grift in the education, systemic oppression, systemic racism. White people have caused all this. What do most of those people do that have those jobs and make six figures? They pack their shit up and move to the white neighborhoods where they're going to be oppressed again. I don't understand the mentality. I don't get why you would choose to move to a white oppressive neighborhood if you're a rich minority person that says white people are systemically racist and oppressive. I don't know why you would move to a white neighborhood. I don't understand.
It's a good question.
I don't get it. I wish Kamala would answer that. I wish Newsom can answer that. Hey, maybe Ron Garcia Ortiz from Cherry Creek can answer that. Hey, why do you move to an 80% rich white neighborhood, Ron, if you think white people are racist? I don't understand. You also married a white woman, so go figure. You just might not like white men. I don't know. But they do it. White people are bad, but I'm going to marry a white woman. I'm going to move to a white neighborhood. But yet in their professional life, they talk how horrible white people are. I don't understand how that works. I just don't. No,
neither. This is why I go to salvation.
Grifters, man.
Otherwise, it's always going to be bad. It's always going to be bad. I gotta find hope and love and faith. If I don't have that, it's hard for me to get through a day.
I'm just filled with piss, anger, and vinegar.
No, but you know what, Patrick? You know what's funny? We had our conversation before we go here, and I know we got to cut it. It was a good conversation because two adults can sit back and we could be 95% agreed on something and maybe not over here. I also think that's a big piece of what's missing in this country right now. We can't sit down and have civil conversation, even if we can't even draw the same conclusion. I just think that's missing. We've gotten so entrenched in social media and everything's just vented out online. We've lost a lot of that as well. So we're losing the ability to have genuine discourse, have legitimate conversation, have appreciation and value in each other. You're told what to think, you're screamed at, you're talked down, you're phobed. I'll go back to it and I'll end with this. I think people are fatigued. I think they're fatigued across the board. I think they're just tired of getting the crap kicked out of them.
You're not wrong. Would you like to pray us out today?
Sure. Why not?
Let's do it.
Father God, as always, so grateful for the message that you send. I'm grateful for the salvation that we are afforded. I pray for my brothers and sisters abroad. I am very, very grateful that we have good men that are willing to stand in the face of evil, as we have seen recently. But we need more stepping up. I am eternally grateful as well for my little girl coming home. Shout out to everybody on the USS Tripoli. Thank you for your service. Not a single person harmed. Got back home safe. God bless all of you, and some time away, get a breather. And I'd also ask, just watch safe travels over the ones that we love, those that are afar, and those that cannot be with us today. Keep them safe and keep them under your care. In your son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Nicely said. Well done. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Joe will be back tomorrow. Hope you learned a couple of things. Tune in. We got a banger of a week shaping up already. More to come. Class dismissed.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the nights. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Stand in pride. to shine and see we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown, untamed nation. It's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth